I'm going to pour LB amp plates, and if these come with, if you wish for BABEC to supply it for you, we can do that. So we have a sleeve of 20 plates, and what you do with these is that you first cut it off very close to the top, because you want that extra space. We're going to put the plates back in the sleeve later, so you want to save the sleeves. And what you do then is you turn this bag upside down very carefully, and then slowly remove the sleeve from the 20 plates. And for some reason it's kind of sticky. Okay, so once the plates are off, then you can remove some of them so they don't topple over. And different people have different ways of marking these plates. Today we're pouring LB amp plates. So for BABEC, we like to use two different colors. Black is usually for LB agar only, and the red is for ampicillin. So we want to make sure that we put 2 lines on each of these plates. And you can see how it's done. You can just take a stack and then just run down the black right on the lids, and then you can then also run down the red. And there you have your black and red stripes. So we'll do it to this stack also. Some people also like to make sure that they get it on the bottom side of the dishes. I don't usually worry about that so much. But if you would like to, then make sure that you get the indentations too. Okay, so now these are ready to be poured. So I like them in stacks of, I actually like them in stacks of 4. Okay, so I'll put them in 5 sets of 4. Okay, as such, and close to the edge of your bench top. And before, I forgot, well, before we started, I alcohol sprayed the bench top and wiped it clean. And notice we don't have any flames going. It's not in a hood. The idea is that you pour as quickly as possible. Okay, so here's our LB agar bottle, and it's got 300 mils in it. And this is perfect then for the ampicillin that we give you, which is 3 mils. Okay, so all you have to do here is just to pour the whole tube of ampicillin into the LB agar. And that should give you the correct concentration of ampicillin at the end, at the final concentration, which is 100 micrograms per mil. And then you swirl it a little just to make sure it's well mixed. Okay. So before I start, I like to spray my bottles with alcohol. And I also like to spray a strip of paper with alcohol to catch the drips. And it's going to drip when you pour. So I just like to put it around the bottle and make sure that it doesn't drip. And also the other thing to remember is that this bottle is actually not that hot. It's about 60 degrees coming out of the water bath. And it's very important that you don't pour your ampicillin into a very hot LB agar. If you do that, it will inactivate your ampicillin. So make sure that it's relatively cool to the touch, and that's a good temperature. Okay, and I'm not wearing gloves, so it means that it's very cool, or it's cool enough. It's 60 degrees. It's cool enough that it's still liquid, and it hasn't gelled again. Okay. So now we're ready to pour. And the idea is to just pour quickly. What I like to do is that I have a stack of 4 plates to begin with, and I like to lift the lid from the last one on the stack and then go to the top from there, as you will see. So you only need enough to cover the bottom of your dish, which is about 10 mils. So for 300 mils of LB agar, we should be able to pour at least 30 of these dishes. And sometimes if I get to the bottom and I notice that it hasn't gotten to the whole bottom part of the dish, I'll just swirl it a little just to cover the bottom. So you can see like there's a little bit of space, I'll swirl it to cover it. Once you have it poured, you can push it aside very carefully. The main thing is that you don't push it so hard that you get the LB agar into the lip or the lid part of your Petri dish. That invites a way for the microbes to come into the dish and actually use its food. So I'm just going to keep pouring until I use up the whole bottle. It is really important that you pour your whole bottle at one sitting. The reason is we already have ampicillin in here. If we don't pour the whole bottle, that means it's going to gel. And if it's going to gel, then you got to re-microwave it to make it liquid again. And then that's going to kill off the ampicillin, and so you're going to need more ampicillin again. So it's actually very inefficient and a waste, and not very nice if you're actually sharing that bottle with your colleagues. So it's best to just pour the whole bottle if you have any kind of additives into your LB agar. And notice that I got more than one sleeve of Petri dishes ready. So that's another thing to be prepared for, because this is 300 mils of LB agar, and I'm expecting to pour at least 30 dishes. We are close to the end of the bottle, and it is starting to get a little bit thick. So I want to make sure that I pour the whole thing before it actually starts to gel up. And this is when you'll notice, and I'll just do one just to show, that it is so thick that it's starting to be hard to actually cover the bottom by itself, and I might have to swirl it by hand. So you see, it's very, very thick, and so I'm going to swirl it to make sure it covers the whole bottom. And I think this is the end of the bottle, and I just want to swirl it, and usually with the lid on, to make sure that it's covered. So now I have these empty ones, and then have these that are filled. So you can carefully stack them up, and then push them aside. Okay, so once they, I notice there's a lot of condensation on top of the lids, so we will let them cure for a couple of days until it dries out a little bit more, and then next time I'll show you how to put them back into the sleeve.